Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 12th. Skipped yesterday. One of my buddies wasn't up to gaming. I just spent the evening scheduling the video game videos that I've gotten done. Getting that all ready to go, so more content is good to go. Today, I got up for work. I clock in. It starts looking like it's going to be a good day. About 55 minutes into my day, my power goes out. What are those guys doing out there? There's guys working outside the window. What are they up to? Let me open my door, and oh, there's a sheet of paper. Your power's going to be out today after 8 until like the end of the day. We're changing the boxes. I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me know. Now, technically, that note could have been put in there yesterday. I didn't go out yesterday, so I wouldn't have known. But it's... I feel like that still wouldn't have been enough notice. Oh well. I'm gonna lose out on some pay at work. If they do finish it earlier than end of day, I might be able to salvage some of that. But otherwise, I'm hanging out here in the dark. Hopefully I get to watch a movie this evening. But just be me being bored until then. And it's probably gonna get hot because it's still kind of hot out. It's not super hot, but it's still like in the 80s, and I don't like it being that hot in here. So great. Of course I can't cook because there's no power. And I want to minimize time looking in the fridge to try and figure something else out. So I have to try and remember what's in there that I don't have to cook. And at some point I'll go like probably pick up some fast food or something. But I don't want to just like leave the house. I can go hang out at Mom's, but then if they manage to finish things sooner, I wouldn't know. So I was thinking, hang out around here, maybe they get done earlier. Who knows how long they need? It was my condo management company that left the note saying, you know, by end of day, maybe the actual people working on it will get done sooner. But they're right there, so you can just talk to them, and they're like, oh no, 4 or 5, we should have it back on. So 4 or 5 hours, or 4 or 5 this afternoon? 4 or 5 this afternoon. Okay, so it's out for about 8 hours. It's gonna be, my work day ends at 3:45. I mean, I figure I'll come back before then. In case they get things done sooner. Maybe noon. But I'm gonna go over to Mom's for at least like 3 or 4 hours, enough to get out of the heat. Cool down. At least. Of all things, be able to charge up my phone, because it was more than half dead. It was going out, and now it's sitting here. It's the only thing I have to do. So I'm gonna head over there for a bit. So I grabbed a bite to eat. Went over to Mom's, and well, stayed there for a while. Started more work on the preparing Mutants and Masterminds, but I didn't get much done. I went over what's already happened. I deciphered Austin's character sheet, because I'm trying to think of what villain do I put him up against. What do I want to build for that? And it's probably going to be something basic, but yeah, that's kind of what I spent time doing. And then I came back here. It's noon. I'm like, let's see. They done? No, not close. Not even close. Great. So, probably gonna send Mom a message, be like, I'm coming back. Want me to pick up something to eat for you on the way back? Because she told me to call her before I just came back. We can grab something to eat. But, yeah, still no power. But I was optimistic. I came back to check. So, having some Lion's Choice for lunch in the middle of the day. Just hanging out with Mom because she has air conditioning. And after a bit more time at Mom's, working on Mutants and Masterminds game, getting very little accomplished. Just not in an environment where I'm used to working like that, and brain was not doing what it's supposed to. But I came home about 45 minutes or an hour before the end of my workday. Power's still out. Now, half hour before the end of the workday, called work. I was like, it's gonna be a full day. They're still out there. It looks like the box is all up on the wall, but they're still wiring or setting things up. I don't know. But no power, hopefully soon. Now, while at Mom's, now today was a great reminder. Mike had gotten some spare battery backups. I was like, yeah, I'll get those at some point. So I got those. Because I was like, oh yeah, that'd be a good thing to have. Should have that. Soon. Yep, I felt like, oh, they're messing with the big green box in the ground. Power's back. Okay. Alright. Well, the place has cooled down. I got the milk and cream that I'd taken over to Mom so they didn't spoil. Since they're apparently more sensitive. I asked her, is anything going to go bad? She's like, those might. So, got those back. Feel like my day has been pretty much wasted, as, you know, I didn't work to make money, but I also wasn't really able to accomplish much of anything. Because I wasn't here and didn't have my computers. It was a boring day, because I didn't have my YouTube to watch. Anyways. It's evening, I have power now. I've been thinking for the last week I'll probably just watch the next Ghostbusters. It's October, I'll watch something spooky each week or something, but I don't wanna. It's not what I wanna watch. Those I was watching it because it's October, and I'm grouchy because today's not gone the way I want. So I'm gonna watch the next James Bond. For Your Eyes Only. Oh, it's when I have a cover to show you. Watch For Your Eyes Only. Yeah, it's a Roger Moore James Bond, not the most exciting, but in general, James Bond is a long series, and I'm well into it at this point, and I am enjoying the process of just trying to get through it. Just get through, watch them all. At a certain point, there'll be ones that I have not seen. Like, I think there's one in theaters right now. You know, obviously it'll probably be out on Blu-ray by the time I get to it, but I'm like, I'm just getting through them. Checking them out. I don't know. Maybe this is a good one. Could be. I've been surprised with some of his. Because I guess there's like one or two that are just really bad. But yeah, so try and salvage the day by watching. And that was a good one. I would give For Your Eyes Only 7.4 out of 10. Not bad, not bad. One of Roger Moore's better ones. I felt like it was. From her on the cover, I'm like, I feel like she was in one that I didn't mind. It's her and BB. They had some interesting characters. To get started from the back of the box. James Bond is thrust into one of his most riveting adventures in this jam-packed free-for-all of outrageous stunts, passionate encounters, and exciting confrontations. Roger Moore portrays Agent 007 with lethal determination in a plot that finds him infiltrating the Greek underworld and racing against time to find a stolen device capable of controlling a fleet of nuclear submarines. So, this one tried to go back to some of the roots. Sometimes in ways that seemed weird. Particularly like setting up the movie. Getting you into the movie, they tried to go a little more traditional. Now, our pre-credit, our intro sequence, brings back Blofeld in a really weird way. It almost feels like they're trying to set up this movie to be a direct sequel of... What was that? On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Like ignoring everything between them. Maybe. They're definitely setting up that this is the same Bond as, well, I guess as George Lazenby. As we begin with him at Tracy's grave. And then Blofeld. Now, not the Blofeld from where we last saw him, where he'd had his reconstruction so that there's multiple of them and all that when Sean Connery returned. No. Not that Blofeld. No. But like Blofeld from the first time we saw him with like the disfigurement looking thing. Kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But we get that as our actions. And it's not like they're bringing him back because, oh, he's our villain. No, it's just bringing back for the opening to kill him off again. Okay, sure. Why not? I guess. So I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they randomly brought him back for no reason. You know, it leaves for a cool scene. And if you are to imagine that this is them wrapping things up there and cutting out a bunch of the movies, well, sure, I guess. But otherwise, this movie, you know, sort of oscillates back and forth of trying to figure out first who the bad guy is, because for a while James is working with the bad guy, thinking he's the good guy, and then he finds the bad guy and finds out the bad guy's the good guy, and the good guy he was working with the bad guy. All trying to get this device that'll allow him to control the nuclear submarines before it's sold to Russia. Very well. Now, in getting this mission and being assigned, James comes into the office as normal. And he throws his hat. Which is small, but just, you got Moneypenny putting on her lipstick and you see the hat fly in the mirror. And it's just a gesture, a symbol that, like, you almost feel like you're going to see Sean walk on the screen. It's definitely harkening back to that. And they're trying to tie back to some of the classic, you know, in his flirtation with Moneypenny, the classic James Bond scenes with that. And I think, in part, especially right there, they're doing their best to grab onto what they can and tie it to tradition, because James is assigned his mission without M. Because this is the first James Bond after we lost Bernard Lee. Yeah. But all the same, we go off and I mean, we get ski sequences and we get underwater sequences and we get a weird, what was it, VW bug maybe, car chase and all sorts of cool stuff. We have interesting interaction. Two big Bond girls in here. One is the daughter of some folks that were killed by the bad guy. And so she's coming around with her crossbow and she's seeking revenge, which ties back to things like, was it Thunderball? Or there's been a couple where the Bond girl is seeking that revenge, and that's how she ends up mixed up with Bond, as he's after the same folks, which is a great way to see it. And there's some great chemistry between them. And she's that one here. The other key Bond girl in this is BB. BB is an ice skater. Nope, not gonna focus. Okay. She just came by the screen as her. BB is the niece of the bad guy, who James meets thinking when he thinks the bad guy's the good guy. Anyways, she has a crush on James, or really anyone. She's kind of... Anyways, so there's this interaction between her and James, and it feels really creepy. Because she feels very young. And James is Roger Moore in his mid-50s. So it feels really creepy, and this one doesn't. And so I'm like, how young is she? I look it up, and no, she's like 21. And then my brain says, I wonder, how old is she when this is filmed? Or about 22. But because they pay her as a character that is seeking revenge and just a mature attitude, but they play BB in pigtails and skating around the ice rink and being flirtatious to the point it's silly, BB seems childish and young, and the other does not. Ultimately, they're clearly both probably too young for Roger Moore at this point. Although I do believe one of the... Because I've you know, as I go through, if I haven't seen him already, I watch all the bonus features. I know in one of the commentaries, he commented that the reason he eventually left the role is because he was just getting kind of weirded out by it. Because he kept getting older, and the girls did not. So... so he was aware of it as an actor. But I think he has one or maybe two more before he steps away. But otherwise, yeah, interesting story, fun. Ending set piece is this abandoned monastery on the top of this mountainous pillar that can only be accessed by a basket or mountain climbing. And just some of the exotic locales that James Bond brings us to is great. But in general, it felt more James Bond. Less silly. I mean, there's a point where, at one point, his ally, he finds dead in his car, clasping a pin of a white dove, which he'd seen on someone else earlier. Later on, he's tracked this guy down. He has this guy having wrecked his car, and he's halfway, like his car is about to plummet off a cliff. He's gonna die. And James Bond walks up to the car with the pin. He's like, I believe you left this with a friend of mine. He tosses it in. And he steps back and he kicks the car over the cliff to kill the guy. That car was slowly sliding. It would have slid. It would have fallen. The guy would have died. But that's not what he did. He kicked it over so that he took part in getting that revenge. He chose to kill in cold blood. Which is definitely the kind of thing Sean Connery would have done as Bond. But a lot of the times, that's not what Roger Moore does as Bond. Roger Moore is a lot softer, more silly Bond most of the time. But not in this movie. And I think that's why this movie so far stands aside as one of the Roger Moore Bonds that I like. He didn't play it for comedy. This movie did not feel like it was trying to be a comedy. And I really liked that. I really appreciated that. That's kind of like a James Bond movie rather than a comedy. And that's, that's where I've had issues, I think. As I've tried to focus on it, the more silly they try to be, the less I like them as a James Bond film. Who'd have thunk it, huh? And I mean, I know a lot of people love Roger Moore's Bond. Because a lot of them are silly. And people like comedies. But it's not what I go to Bond for. So, I was quite pleased. This was a good Bond. I was happy with it. And I'm really glad for that, because otherwise my day was kind of cruddy. Very unaccomplished day, you know. Oh well. I got all the power redone, so should be fine now. But I'm gonna call it a night. Usually during my breaks during the day, I'd edit like a vlog so I could put that up. At this point, I don't even think I have time to edit it this evening, so I'm gonna miss doing that today. But oh well. I really didn't get much done today. But it's Tuesday, movie day. I made sure to watch a movie. And I made it through the day. Could have been worse. Hey. Thank you for joining me. Join me as my journey continues.